Lewis. God, every time without fail. I heard that gaseous emission. Well, what's fake news is a stream. It's not loading. Oh, there it is. And we're live. There we go, fellas. Okay. Yanto's here. I know another week gone by already, but we got Captain Dr. Zach Hicks in the chat. We got Betty Reyes. Friends, we got to hustle. I don't even have time for this, J. Cruz. Hey, although I guess I just did it. So it's over now. I can't take it back. I got to be walking these sweet buns out the door in about 50 minutes. I'm sorry. I have something I have to do, and normally we are able to obviously go long, but today we won't be able to. Oh, we got the great and talented Roz Hall here. Another week, no X100 VI for me. Dude, me either. I swear B&H Photo Video is playing games with orders. This is unbelievable. I don't know what's going on over there, but I pre-ordered this camera 2 months ago. I finished my order in the first minute and a half, and they still have not sent it to me. I don't know how that happens. Yeah, we're going a day early. I didn't even think that, but that is actually true. So we're going to go ahead and queue up Mrs. You-Know-Who, and we're going to get this show rolling because we got a lot of show to do and not much time to do it. So, Mrs. D, if you don't mind. Mrs. D! Oh, Mrs. D, we're kind of in a rush. Oh, that's too bad, my dear. You know, I never like to rush it with El Caney. I didn't even want to begin to think what that means. It means, Mrs. D, please don't take that any further. Mrs. D, please don't take it any further.
No details, please.
Please, no details. None of us want to start the show nauseous. Mrs. D, we're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling if you don't mind, because we got a lot of show here to do. And I'll get the music queued up here. Do I have my notes here? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airfun Elijah. Join me today. His fingerprints can be read off the necks of so many of our Cultimac writers. There's a reason our writers have one of the fastest typing speeds in the industry. He's manager of Cultimac, or managing editor, rather. I want to give you a free
start
promotion.
remembering to wear those rubber gloves.
Lewis Wallace is here. Also joining us to prep for any unannounced visits from the one and only Lewis Wallace. Once a month, he and his wife practice escape drills where they use a fake door in their bedroom floor, covered by a carpet, to flee into an adjacent field across from their house. It's our writer, Cultimac. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. Airfun, I have to ask once again, have you bought a computer in the last week?
Oh, dude, I almost did last week. Because those refurbs, man, they're stocking them up so often now. And I have someone who is willing to give me that 15% off the refurb prices, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, but it's true. And, dude, and with tax and everything, for the one that I want, which is the M3 Max, the 16 CPU core, 40 GPU core, it's going to be $3,500, including tax. And I'm like, ugh, $3,500. I mean, even with the discount, that's a tough price to swallow. You know, it's like $3,500, and the M1 Max is still so outstanding. Like, it does everything that I need it to do. And as bad as I want to spend the money, as much as the money is burning a hole in my pocket, I can't get myself to do it. Oh, dude, you distracted me. We don't even have a tweet yet, Lewis, and you didn't even notice.
Well, you know, you're in a hurry. Everything's in a hurry today. We're all rushed.
We're super rushed today. Unfortunately, we got to keep it short. So you'll notice that we actually might have a 30-minute show today. It probably won't be that short.
Still 30 plus.
Still going to be 30 plus. And we're a day early. Yeah, that's true. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so hopefully there's no big Apple stories that we have to that we'll miss this week. But it is what it is. Sometimes we got to move things around a little bit. Let's see here. I'm super excited. We have a new sponsor. And I want to give them thanks. And you know what? I can't believe they've only now just found us, because I just kind of feel like this was a match made to happen. And this is the first time they've ever approached us about sponsoring us. And let me go ahead and hit browser mode here. Oh, our new sponsor. Do I even need to say their name? Lewis, I'm sure you're well familiar with them. Manscaped. You know what? Normally I ad-lib these, but I'm not even going to ad-lib it. I'm going to literally just read you what they sent to me. This episode is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions at Manscaped, Lewis.
Spring cleaning. I like it.
Lewis, I know you got some spring cleaning to do this season. Make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, Lewis. Clear out the winter bush with Manscaped. The Lawnmower 5.0, and watch your confidence bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our special offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code CultCast for 20% off plus free shipping. And you all know, they say a little spring cleaning, but as you know, I have another name for it. I call it going full. Full dolphin, my friends. Living that full dolphin lifestyle. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is their 5th generation trimmer. I'm on the wrong website here. There we go. Thank you for letting me know that, chat. The Manscaped, or the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, is their 5th generation trimmer and features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads. That's obviously important. A standard word for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade for going full dolphin. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code CultCast at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CultCast at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants. I had to read that. That's what they sent me.
Did they request the dolphin sound effects?
No, that was mine. I added that. Well, they call it spring cleaning. Like I said, I have another name for it. And you know, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is waterproof as well, so you could use it in the shower. And look, hey, look, there's nothing to be ashamed about for keeping things nice and smooth. What's the Geek Bench score on the Manscaped? I'll have to ask him about that. Oh man, hey, look. At a certain point in your life, you got to invest in a trimmer. Ear, nose, other areas. It's important to keep yourself groomed and cleaned, unless you are just born without hair like Alex E. Heath, who has no hair from the eyebrows down. But not everyone is like that. Can you use cloth on those areas? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Apply a little moisturizing agent, rub that around. You will be smooth as silk, my friend, smooth as silk. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the content because we're spending a lot of time on this Manscaped ad. By the way, thank you to Manscaped. And we have some Apple news we need to talk about. Let's go ahead and dive right in. We got the announcement. I almost said it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for you, Lewis. Take it away.
Apple sets WWDC 24 kickoff date for June 10. Big news. Big news. Yeah, we knew it was coming right around then, but now we have the exact date. On that date, Monday, June 10, there'll be the big live streamed event that we're so used to at this point. It's going to be the same kind of thing, pieced together, sort of infomercial, deluxe. They're going to tell us everything about everything they got planned for this year. The big hint is that it's all going to be about AI, or that's going to be the big focus.
I think that's
right?
it, man. I think that's it. That's going to be like the whole focus.
They just
It's
can't.
just AI everything.
They
AI
just
all
gotta-
day.
All in on AI, man. All in AI, all the day. Let's see. So it's going to be, like I said, same format as last couple of years with a mixed online in-person event. So certain lucky people get invited there. Members of the press, developers, et cetera, et cetera. Apple sent this press release out. What was it? Was it yesterday? My God, it seems like ages ago already. They said, free for all developers. WWDC 24 will spotlight the latest iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, Watch OS, TV OS, and Vision OS enhancements. Advancements, Apple said. Wow, they mentioned TV OS. That's a little OS that could. I don't even know if it got a mention last time, did it?
Yeah, it actually got its own segment last year.
Did it? I don't even remember it.
Yeah, for a whopping 2 minutes.
Didn't we have like a CultCast bingo?
We don't have to talk about that.
And I won it, right? Because I said they were going to talk about it.
Somebody won it. It could be anybody.
I mean, it could have been everyone, but it was definitely me.
So,
Yeah.
the big hint, I mean, we've all, they've been talking up AI. Tim Cook mentioned AI, big news coming later this year. It's
Yep.
all these rumors anyway. But it seems to be confirmed by a tweet from Greg Joswiak, Apple's senior VP of worldwide marketing. He sent out a tweet saying, "Mark your calendars for WWDC 24, June 10 to 14. It's going to be absolutely incredible." Capitalizing both
Boy,
of those
he knows how to
last
get
two.
people
Wow,
hyped.
what a hint.
What a hype
clue.
man.
Yeah. Who would have guessed? Let's see. Kind of the same deal as ever, suppose, they didn't really give us that much information, but if it goes as it does always, it'll be big, probably 2-hour nonstop breathless live stream thing. And if you're one of those lucky people who gets invited, you'll be sitting there, out on the lawn at Apple Park inside the circle, right? Watching it on a big screen with everyone else. And I believe, Griffin, you got lucky a couple of years ago. We're down there, right? And Tim Cook didn't even come out to say hi, did he?
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a good time. I was invited 2 years ago because I had at the time a registered Apple developer account. So I was invited as developer. But as you know now that I'm here at Cult of Mac full time, Apple invites press as well. This is my solicitation to Apple. Hey, you should invite one of your favorite independent Apple tech blogs as press to this event.
I totally agree.
Amanda Kenny should pay for me to fly out specifically. Because my coverage of the event 2 years ago, it was a great time. I took all kinds of pictures. It was one of my top articles of the year. It was wonderful. People got to see pictures of the inside of Apple Park for the first time, the Developer Center. It was a great tour. I had the pictures of Tim Cook and Craig Federighi on stage, which, as you mentioned, wasn't part of the live stream that everybody saw. They have everybody on campus at Apple Park. They have all these great big rows of lawn chairs in front of this giant stage that they put up. And before the live stream starts for everybody on the internet, some Apple executives say their hellos. Got a lot of good pictures there. It would be great fun if Apple were to extend an invitation to Cult of Mac.
So you're saying you'd go? You're available?
Yes. I've been
declining
events that my friends have been inviting me to, saying, "Hey, you never know.
Dude, we used to get invitations to this kind of stuff. Didn't we, Lewis? At one point, I mean, especially Leander was like best buddies with some of the people there. Some of the high up people there. Like there was this one story that I shan't divulge the details of because he asked us not to. But there was a person at Apple who reached out to him that wanted to meet, and he dropped it casually that he was going to meet this person. And Lewis, I don't even know if you were around when this whole thing happened. And we were stunned, like stunned that this person had reached out and that Leander was going to meet with them.
Was it like gin and tonics with Johnny Ive?
I can't say the details, but it was a person. It was a person, and you would know the name, and you would be surprised and delighted that Leander got to meet with them. How have we ever gone to any of the WWDCs? I feel like we had in the past.
Well, Griffin went,
but that wasn't on behalf of Cult of Mac, was it?
Well,
that's before Cult of Mac.
Yes, I mean,
maybe that's the secret. You got to
Leander
quit.
paid for my plane ticket, so technically.
I mean, I can't keep straight like the exact events and whatever. I mean, we used to go. They used to have it in downtown San Francisco. We would always go. There would be AltConf, the ridiculously hard to pronounce thing. AltConf.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they still do AltConf.
I thought it was dead.
I can't remember. Need to check after the show. Anyway, so we would go hang out and meet people and do stuff down there and cover it, but we didn't get invited inside when I was here. I don't know about previous years, but it at some point you just get tired of asking, right? I remember one time, the last time that I remember Leander going to a Big Apple event, he came away so flummoxed because he went down there and nothing would work. Like he couldn't even he could barely send us a text message. Like the whole internet was so overloaded. He thought he'd go down there and provide live coverage, and it turns out it's it's just way better sometimes to just at least if you're trying to cover what they say, to just do it from home. I mean, it's kind of silly. In fact, that's this whole hybrid thing and making all these conferences it's actually way better for developers now, right? Because now developers can watch all of these things, all of these really important developer-y things that, you and I probably don't really care too much about. But explain exactly how to make the best possible app, and they're all available to everybody worldwide. Whereas, 5 years ago or whatever, before the pandemic, it was like a golden ticket. You had to be invited. You were one of 5,000 people or something. I think is about
Yeah,
the
and they
number
would
that
make the
said,
session
right?
videos available after the fact. But again, having the session videos pre-recorded means that they don't have to fit like 40 minutes of instruction into like a 30-minute session. And, they don't have to like stretch something out to fill an hour. Like the session videos are much better now than they were like when they were recorded live on stage. Not least because the presenters don't have to worry about presenting in front of an audience. It's just,
Yeah.
they just film in front of a camera crew. But that's not to diminish how awesome it would be if hey, it used to be that you could just, walk into the San Jose Convention Center and like sort of half attend WWDC, but you can't just waltz into Apple Park on with how they do it now.
Not unless you want to get tased. Yeah.
Some of those Batman. What are those? What are the things that you use to climb up a wall?
Like Batarang?
Is that what it is?
No,
That's
the
not it.
Batarang is the bat.
Right. What was it called?
The Batling hook? I'm just adding bat to the words.
I think
one
that's
of these.
that should be your next video. You climbing up the Apple Park wall, filmed in the style of 1960s Batman.
I bet the Apple security squad looks like the security forces in the Hunger Games. They just wear those white outfits with like the white motorcycle helmets on. They probably have those same machine guns and everything. If you make it onto the grappler, the grappling hook, the bat hook. I think that might be it, actually.
It would be a golf cart, not a. Everybody transports around Apple Park on golf cart. Everyone knows that.
Is that actually true? I hope that's true. In perfectly like off-white golf carts.
Yeah. Did you see that video where who was it? Was it Greg Joswiak like being interviewed on a golf cart?
Oh, right.
See if I can find this. No, I never saw it. So that is how they actually get around. Nah, Joe's carts is not bringing up anything. unless you want a job in golf carts, $10 to $17 an hour. All right, look, we got to move on. The one thing that we didn't talk about, though, I mean, obviously, is of course we bury the lead. Expectations, predictions. Any hardware announcements? What do you think they're going to focus on? I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. I mean, as mentioned, AI. I mean, it's just not even like a guess, right? I mean, Tim Cook has said it's coming.
Yep.
There's been all these leaks about how they're going to, really try and hop on the AI bandwagon. And I could just, you know what I started thinking about? I started remembering, what was it? 2000, I think, or so, when, 2020, when it was all about 5G and how amazing it was, and how it's going to change everything.
We got scammed big time.
It's like such an amazing thing. I feel like it's the same thing. It's AI. AI is here. It's going to be AI everywhere. AI. And like a year from now, I'll be like, yeah, Siri's slightly better or slightly worse, depending.
I mean, that would actually be big news. I think the other thing they're going to have to promote, obviously, is going to be Vision OS. That's going to be a big one, right? What's going on with Vision Pro? They might even talk about the Vision Pro hardware, although probably not since they're not updating it. I kind of wonder if they're going to do any hardware updates. At this point, I kind of doubt it. Like, we're expecting the iPad updates sometime in the next couple of weeks. It seems like they were pushed back to April, but they're still right around the corner. And they have so many OSs now that I don't think that they could even talk about hardware aside from Vision Pro. Like, if they enable some functionality in Vision OS that does something cool with the Vision Pro, then they might talk about that hardware, or they might talk about the hardware just to keep it relevant, because if you haven't noticed, it has kind of started to die down in Vision Pro news. Like everyone, there was so much worldwide hype, and then it just croaked. So they might try to hype train that, but I think there's probably going to be no hardware announcements there at all. It's going to just be, one OS after another. And, maybe they will give us something for tvOS, Lewis. I think it's time. And tvOS is one of my most used OSs. All I do is watch TV. I quit my job, actually, and I just watch TV all the time. I should have done this way longer ago. It's so much better. It's so much less stressful.
Sounds like a good plan. I wouldn't mind doing that. Just watch TV all day.
I mean, just quietly quit and see if LK notices.
He's been just seems to be racking up the downloads on Apple TV. Yeah. I mean, we keep hearing about iOS iPhone home screen customization.
What a segue.
Yeah, isn't that going to be?
segue. Why don't you talk about
Oh,
that?
I didn't
actually?
realize you wanted to. I didn't mean to cut it off. I just.
No,
was
we've been
gonna
talking about it for 20 minutes, and we got to be done in 20. So
Oh,
we should
okay.
go ahead and just keep it moving.
Yeah, well, so that's the big rumor. Supposedly iOS, aside from the AI, which it's just going to change everything instantly. iOS 18 could introduce more customizable iPhone home screen. Um, they've been slowly unlocking the ability to make this phone look the way you want it to. With iOS 18, supposedly iPhone owners will be able to place app icons anywhere on the screen. Supposedly gain the flexibility to create blank rows and columns, so the icons will still snap to a grid. Can you imagine that? Blank rows and columns. Oh my God, this is a game changer.
It's almost as life changing as 5G.
I mean, I respect the people who spend all this time making these super aesthetic home screens and stuff like that. I mean, it does look really impressive. I can't imagine spending that much time thinking about that stuff and because it's like I want access to the apps I need, right? Let's see. This is reporting from Mac Rumors. Light on details claims iOS 18 could bring, quote, the biggest home screen revamp in several years.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I guess blank. Do you care about? I don't even want a blank row. I heard some rumor that maybe the grid might get tighter, so you could have more.
I actually think
apps
that
on
would be useful. So just to reiterate what you already said, so I think part of this would be allowing you to have blank spaces and rows, so you could position icons as you want them, but not have to have the whole screen filled up with icons. I don't know if I would use it, but I am always a fan of choice. I think that'd be, for those of you who are minimalists and don't want to have anything on your screen, although I guess you can already have blank spots.
I mean,
not
the
for
thing is that
icons, you can already do that, but just having blank rows and stuff, yeah.
even if you don't plan on like leaving any icons and any empty space on your home screen, the fact that they always flow left to right, top to bottom,
Yeah.
can be incredibly annoying to arrange if you just
Yeah.
want to like switch positions. Like I want to move this icon up here and that one down there. Like you have you can't just put it there. You have to put it in the row, and then everything else jitters around, and then you have to move the other one back. Like just putting it exactly where you want it and having it stay there will be incredibly helpful.
Well, let's not forget also that, just real quick, Lewis, that Gurman said that this is going to be the biggest iOS update ever. So apparently we're in for a whole bunch of cool stuff. I mean, this is like one of the only features that we've heard that has leaked. But Gurman's saying the biggest one ever known to mankind. I mean, just think about that. That's pretty big.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
You don't believe Gurman? Are you going to go on the record as not believing Gurman?
We'll see.
I disavow.
It might be very different in that they might weave AI and everything and muck everything up. It might be, I mean, if they actually, I agree with you, Griffin, the whole thing of like trying to arrange the icons. I've got so many apps on my phone now, it's just ridiculous. And trying to move them around, it'll drive you mad. So maybe they come up with an entirely different way. Maybe the jiggle dance will go away. Can you imagine that?
Don't break my heart. Love the jiggle.
It is one of those charming things that is amazing when you first see it. It makes you feel good, and then eventually you can come to hate it because it fights you.
Curtis Bland from the chat. I wouldn't be surprised if watchOS has elements that help the future release of a Ring device. Dude, I don't know. Do you guys think we're going to get an Apple Ring? That was like a story for about 5 minutes a few weeks ago. I don't know if I buy that. Like an Apple Ring, I just, how would you interact with it?
They would have to start all over with trying to miniaturize all these sensors in what's probably a less useful spot of the body than having your wrist.
And the battery life, it's like, how do you fit battery into a ring unless it's like a Super Bowl ring or something? So I just think that was one of those wacky zany rumors that I don't know where that came from, but I don't actually think that we're going to get a ring from Apple. And is there any demand for a ring, like a smart ring?
There is demand for something like an Apple Watch that's like, maybe a little smaller, also straps onto your wrist, but doesn't have a screen on it for people who just want the fitness and activity tracking, but they don't care about actually wearing a watch. And I feel like that would be closer to the Apple Watch in a product that it would be much easier to implement than like trying to miniaturize everything down to a ring. Because like, not to mention, like, how do you sell different sizes of an Apple Ring? That'd be incredibly hard. Like,
That's actually a great point. That would be a nightmare. How many sizes do you have to have?
And
Not to mention
like,
every size
physically
diminishes
differently-
like how much battery space you have.
Yeah, that'd be a mess. But like, I can see there being a compelling case for Apple making like just an Apple Fitness band that isn't really a watch. But are they even going to do that? Probably not.
Yeah, Betty Reyes, how can Apple work on so much stuff? Boy, if we could do a whole episode on that. Vision OS, a car, a ring. Well, they axed the car. The car has
Yeah.
crashed. Can they pull resources and just focus on Siri? Maybe they could do like a milestone just on Siri. Just have the whole company do like a bug bash on Siri and just get that working. That'd be great. All right, look, I got to be walking out the door in 18 minutes. We got to keep moving here.
Gee whiz.
Before we continue, though, because we're going to talk about hackers and how they're exploiting Apple M series chips, I want to give you all an opportunity here. You've heard me talk about Factor Foods before and how delicious it is and how much I love having Factor Food in the home. And, it's like having restaurant quality takeout just sitting in your fridge at all times, which I absolutely love. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. And it's flexible for your schedule. You can get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries at any time if you wish. And Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is just so good. I like the Protein Plus menus that they have here. These are, so far, they're my favorite, although I haven't even tried everything yet, to be honest with you. And it's just a big old hunk of meat on top of like a pile of vegetables with a side of, something else, usually like another vegetable. And then it has like a huge old slather, just like spackle. They probably take like a spackle thing and just spackle the sauce right on the top. It's like a big old layer of not of actual spackle, at least not that I've tried yet, of sauce right on the top. And they're easy to prepare. They're moist and juicy and delicious because they're never frozen. And you just keep them in your fridge, and when you're hungry, you just pull one out. The only problem is that you just end up not cooking anymore, and all you do is eat Factor Foods. Lewis, I know did you finally get your Factor Foods?
I did get some. And, I went with the Calorie Smart ones.
Okay.
Because, I'm kind of a fat tub of goo. And
Well, from the shoulders up, you look great.
I was impressed by how not impressed, but just relieved by how easy it is. It's like pull it out of the thing. 2 minutes later, you got your lunch, steaming hot and delicious.
Yep.
I mean, total time saver. I mean, I like to cook. I cook all the time, so does my wife. But it was very handy to just be able to pull those out. CultCast in 10 minutes. Oh man, I need some lunch right now. Boom, done. And even the Calorie Smart ones. Those are saucy meals, man. There's a lot of good sauce on those things. I had some shrimp that was delicious. Some shrimp and some.
Oh, they sent you a shrimp one. Wow.
Yeah, shrimp one and a salmon one. Some with and
sent you
all
salmon?
these. I think they're all under 550 calories. Yeah, I mean,
Huh.
I gotta say, I'm not the world's biggest fan of like cauliflower and broccoli, but
Yeah.
and so that's bad, right? I mean, you ought to eat more of that stuff. I ought to eat more of that stuff. But you know what I don't do when I'm at the grocery store? Pick up some of that stuff. So I got some of that in these meals, and you know what? Tasted pretty good, even for a guy who doesn't like broccoli and cauliflower. It's like, wow, this is pretty well done.
Yeah, they put such good sauces on their vegetables that I also enjoy eating their vegetables. Well, look, times are tough, things are expensive, and the discount that they provide our listeners, I think makes it kind of a no-brainer to at least try. Head to factormeals.com/cultcast50 and use code cultcast50, that's cultcast50, to get 50% off. That's code cultcast50 at factormeals.com/cultcast50 to get 50% off, which is a huge discount. And let me know. Ping me on the all new X. Let me know which Factor meal is your favorite, which ones you liked the most. Yeah.
I had, listen to this. I just want to give people an example. I wrote these down. I was so interested. Creamy dill shrimp pasta with chili spiced broccoli and cauliflower.
Oof.
That was good.
Mama. Yeah, I should have written down some of my favorite ones too. I usually save the packaging to remind myself which ones I like, but then my wife just throws them away. So I got nothing.
I was kind of shocked, cavatappi, an Italian style pork ragu with garlic broccoli.
Oh man. They're so perfect for lunch too. Like when you don't want to cook something for lunch, that's the time where or at least for me, I go to grab the Factor food because it's just in the fridge and you heat it up, and in literally a few minutes, it's ready to roll.
Yeah, super easy to do, and I gotta say, it
It
tasted
is good.
very fresh and good.
Yeah, it is really good food. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's keep the train moving here. Although I have no idea where we are. Oh, we're going to talk about hacking the M chip. Griffin, you better do it quick because we got 1, 2, I guess like 2.5 stories left, but not much time to
Okay.
do it. We got 10 minutes. You got to motor mouth your way through this.
Hackers can exploit flaw in Apple M series processors. This is the biggest story of the week on cultamac.com. Security researchers have found a serious exploit in all Apple M series processors. The flaw exposes precious encryption keys, and it's baked into the hardware, so it can't easily be patched without a performance penalty. Bad news.
Wow.
Encryption is used to keep information that travels over the internet private. It's what makes online shopping possible. It ensures that nobody can read our texts, which is why it's troubling, to say the least, that security researchers at some of America's top universities found a way to make M-series processors leak the encryption keys that could unlock all of that security. The proof of concept tool is called GoFetch. So one of the ways M-series processors, offer such great performance is with what's called the Data Memory Dependent Prefetcher, or DMP. This is what fetches data into the CPU cache, which is basically like a faster form of memory available to the processor. The DMP will read through the contents of program memory, look for pointers to any other locations in memory, and copy the reference data in advance. And this is where the researchers found the leak. They feed the DMP a bunch of cryptographic related instructions in their program. Then they look at all of the pointer values that the DMP spits out. And over the course of a couple hours, they can piece together an entire cryptographic key out of your Mac. Now, the good news is there are no examples of the DMP flaw discovered by researchers in actual use by hackers. And the other good news is that on M3 chips, there's a built-in toggle switch that can disable the DMP, and that fixes the leak. But it does mean that running all these, cryptography software instructions without using the DMP, entirely in software without using the hardware, will slow down the Mac. And the bad news is that there's no toggle switch like that on the M1 and M2 chips. So just be careful.
Oh, great. Guess you got to upgrade to M3. No problem. Only the M3
feature.
Only the M3 Max chip is safe. Everyone better go upgrade, and only the 40 GPU core model, of course. Not that that's actually probably not true. Don't sue me. But
yeah,
now I can't use my favorite cryptography apps.
Yeah. So if and when it goes beyond the proof of concept stage, the exploit will need to be delivered in the usual ways: a virus or a Trojan horse, and software that protects against these should block attempts to install the malware. So, basically just install your software security updates on your Mac.
Okay. There you go. Let's cruise through these last stories. Look at this. We're actually on time. Okay, we got a cool update for all of you about iPhone. You know when you buy an iPhone and you got to immediately, as soon as you get it unboxed, you got to start installing updates and stuff? That may soon become a thing of the past. Presto, your new iPhone comes out of the box with a fresh software update. The next time you buy a new iPhone, it could come out of the box with all the updates you need already installed, according to a new report. A new proprietary system called Presto will update it right in the packaging before you buy it at an Apple store. Obviously, it takes a long time to update when you first get your phone out, which is super annoying. The Presto system should start rolling out in Apple stores in the U.S. in April, so that's right around the corner. That's according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who Lewis doesn't trust, obviously. You just heard him. So Lewis is probably skeptical of this story too, but I believe this. He first mentioned Presto in October 2023. That's Gurman, not Lewis. Noting that the wireless system will update phones on store shelves before they're sold. That's pretty cool. Is there anything else in here that is worth mentioning? Let's see. Apple prepares to roll out its inbox iPhone update feature to all U.S. stores. Okay, this is just an excerpt from the story. What was that, Griffin?
Yeah, he said it looks like, he described it as a metal cubby for shoes. It can use MagSafe and other wireless technologies to power up the phone without ever cracking open the packaging. It downloads and installs a new software and then turns the phone back off when it's done.
Wow, that is like magic, dude. Apple
It's a
tested
little-
the Presto iOS updates in late 2023, the report said, and now they're hoping to roll it out to all stores by summer. Yeah, Lewis, go ahead.
It's just a little creepy, isn't it? I mean, how do they remotely turn your phone on, update software? I mean, what if that gets in the wrong hands?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you'd have to get
How
your
do they
hands on
turn
the
it
The
off?
device
software
too.
update that it installs still has to be signed and approved
Yeah.
by Apple
Yeah.
before it can
Yeah,
do
But
it.
how do they turn the machine on?
Yeah, well, that's the magic.
Good
of it.
question.
Ross Hall makes a good point. He says that's going to save him 20 minutes every 3 years. Hey, I'll take it. How important is your time? I'll take 20 minutes back. Now that's funny.
It's
So
almost
Ross,
7 minutes a year.
that's true. If you analyze it, 7 minutes a year. Well, that must mean that Ross Hall is only updating every 3 years. Now, for guys like us, that's going to take a full, 20 minutes every year. So we've just tripled our efficiency in our lives, in our personal lives, in our work. So we'll be more efficient. We thought y'all might want to know that. That's pretty cool. I mean, look, it's definitely a annoying inconvenience, and I'm going to guess at a certain point they'll be able to do this with Macs as well. I mean, do they say iPhones? Yeah, iPhones here, but I imagine that they'll be able to do this with all devices at a certain point. And think how cool that would be. You get your device home, and you don't need to install any updates. It's just ready to rock and roll. Like, that's the world I want to live in. I bet you this feature was personally programmed by Tim Cook. He works on the important ones, And the last thing I wanted to just bring up is an update on this Department of Justice. I use that term loosely these days. Lawsuit against Apple. And I mean, look, dude, the more I look into this, the more I'm like, what is the actual problem? Like, there are real problems, I think, that probably need to be addressed. But they're accusing Apple of being a monopoly, and I don't actually think that's a real problem. And when I was reading through some of the details of this story, some of the accusations from the DOJ I just thought were odd. Like, first of all, the DOJ states that Microsoft, HTC, and LG all exited the smartphone market because of Apple. And they make that sound like it's a bad thing. I'm like, well, that's because Apple is just so good, It's not like Apple did something nefarious to force them out or illegal. It's like they're just that good. You could say that about other game consoles too. Like, where's Atari these days? I don't know. It's probably because Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo are so good. Let's see here. Just this week, the DOJ announced it would be suing Apple. Yeah, we already know all that. In the court documents, when trying to substantiate the damage done by Apple's market practices, it claims many prominent, well-financed companies have tried and failed to successfully enter the relevant markets because of these entry barriers. Okay. When looking at specific failures, the DOJ cites, you're going to love this, the DOJ cites Amazon, which released its Fire Phone in 2014 but could not profitably sustain its business and exited the following year. They're going to blame the failure of Fire Phone, Amazon Fire Phone, on Apple.
Have any of those justices actually used the Fire Phone?
No one used the Fire Phone. That was the
If the Fire Phone
problem.
was the only smartphone, it still would have failed.
I never got my hands on one. Is it terrible?
Nobody did, Lewis. That's the problem. That's why they went out of business. I mean,
Well, but see, that's what these numbnuts over the DOJ are saying. Well, Apple, just so dominant that even Amazon can't make a phone.
the suit claims that the entry barriers are so high that Google is a distant third to Apple and Samsung, despite the fact that Google controls the development of the Android operating system. They use this as evidence as that Apple's doing something wrong, and to me, this is evidence that they're doing something so well that no one can compete. Like, let's not forget when the iPhone came out, people were using, as Steve Bomber liked to say, Nokia phones and BlackBerry. They were completely dominant. The iPhone was so dang good, it put those two companies out of business. And BlackBerries were ubiquitous. They were what was used everywhere. And Apple was so good that it completely bankrupted them. So, I mean, the walled garden and the ecosystem approach that Apple has, I mean, yeah, it's definitely annoying sometimes. But I don't see how they classify it as a monopoly when you can just not buy it. I mean, a monopoly is something that you're forced to buy. It's like your water or your electricity. Like, you don't have multiple providers. But if you want, there's like a zillion different phones that you could buy and not participate. Now, I think there's an argument that there's a duopoly. I think obviously that's true. You're either going to be in Google's ecosystem or Apple's, but I don't know what other options there are. I mean, people want to use the best OS, and those are kind of the two best. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? It's not like there aren't other phone companies that come out that make products and end up not being popular. I mean, Microsoft tried, and they exited too. They had their own operating system, and they left the ecosystem. And it's not because Apple is so tightly integrated with other Apple hardware, which I think is kind of like a premise of the DOJ's claims that is one of the reasons why they're suing. They're like, well, the Apple Watch should work better with Android devices. Why? Why should Apple make their watch work with every other the zillion Android products that are out there? It's like, why can't they make their own products work well with their own products? Like, that's what every company on earth does. You know, like the best controllers for Xbox are made by Microsoft. The best controllers for PlayStation are made by PlayStation. I mean, or Sony. Like, why should Apple do things any differently? I just think this whole suit is very bizarre. And I kind of wonder if it's actually going to go anywhere. But, I mean, I think it could end up just being like a cash grab or something, like they'll levy fines on Apple or something. I have no idea, but we'll continue following this story. I know a lot of you probably think this is boring. I kind of do too. But the more I read about it, the more I think there are some like entertaining aspects of this story. And, you know, you get the DOJ.
Infuriating aspect.
Yeah, and some of those as well. Oh, and then I was just reading like the EU is like going after Apple to make sure they're complying with all their new regulations over there. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure your concern is all about to make sure that Apple's being compliant, and not that if they're not compliant, you get to levy huge fees on them. Some people call me a cynic, Lewis. I think I'm just practical. All right, everyone. That's it. We got to wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. Look at this. 48 minutes. We still went 48 minutes, 42 minutes. So,
is that the shortest one ever?
I doubt that, but it's probably amongst the shortest.
Shrinkflation.
That's right. Blame Snickers and Doritos. It's not our fault. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. But you know what? The fun continues. In the CultCast Discord, the Cult Club, where we're having all sorts of fun. You can join that by supporting us at support.thecultcast.com, support.thecultcast.com. Of course, we're all, well, two of us are on the all-new X, duking it out. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. You can just Google D. Griffin Jones, and you can probably find his Flickr, his MySpace page. There's all sorts of locations where Griffin hangs out. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm not even sure I have time to let the music go all the way. I got 3 minutes left. It's gonna be a risk, so maybe I might just go ahead and start fading this down. You know what? Those short shows are actually kind of fun. Maybe we should just keep making them shorter and shorter. Well, you know what? I think the way it worked was we had all the same tangents, just fewer stories. I think you didn't get it out here. Maybe we could do those in off-topic. That's a good off-topic episode. All right. Everyone have a great weekend. I'm hurtling towards the stop stream button as we speak. I think we're going to make it just in time. I'm going to let it go. I'm not even going to fade it. Bye, y'all.